Hello and welcome everyone to our fifth Coffee with Kusini of 2026. I'm Tad Bradley from the Kusini Collection, along with my colleagues Gretchen and Vanessa. We are very excited to be joined by our partner Amit Sankhala from Encounters Asia. For those of you who don't know Encounters Asia, they are a boutique DMC operating in India, Sri Lanka, Nepal, and Bhutan, which is, of course, the subject of our webinar today. And we're ready to dive in. Amit, as I mentioned, if you have questions, please feel free to post them in the chat, and we will get to those probably at the end of the session. Amit, we're excited to learn more about Bhutan, a place that seems to be on everyone's minds and in the media these days. So please take it from here and give us a little bit of a preview of what you're up to in Bhutan.
Thank you so much, Tad. A pleasure to meet everybody. My name is Amit, as Tad mentioned, and we operate in that Indian subcontinent, which is India, Nepal, Bhutan, and Sri Lanka. And I think for today's webinar, we are touching upon Bhutan, but just to throw it out there, I'm just going to do more a general overview of Bhutan. And if somebody has any specific, clients or group trips or something that they want to plan, which is around photography, birding, could be something different, we can talk about that completely separate. What I wanted to, because of the time constraint today, I just wanted to give you an overall picture about Bhutan, where it is on the map, basically. And a lot of people don't even know how to get to Bhutan. That is usually the bigger question because it doesn't come in your systems that you can actually book a flight to Bhutan. We would have to do that for you. So let me start with Bhutan. Bhutan, it's one of its logos is happiness is a place. It truly is measured by something they call gross national happiness. And just to give you where it is on the map, it's just between China and Nepal, India. It nestles in between there, and the only way sort of in and out of there is via very specific flights. There are only two airlines in the country. One is Royal Bhutan Airlines, and one is Druk Airways. They are the only carriers that go in and out of the country. There are no outside carriers allowed in the country. Hence, a lot of the times you're not able to issue the tickets into Bhutan. You can buy them, of course, directly on the website of the airlines, but they do not interlink with any other international carriers. So the best way to actually get to Bhutan is three consistent flights that fly in there. One is from India between Delhi and Calcutta. The other is Bangkok, and from time to time, well, definitely Kathmandu as well. So between these three countries, which is Thailand, Nepal, and India, there are consistent flights to Bhutan almost every day. Then there are seasonal flights that come in from Dubai, Singapore. Sometimes they'll also do other places in India like Bangalore or Mumbai. But these are, they come and go, depends on the season. There is no direct all the time from these other destinations. So whenever you want to send clients to Bhutan, I would advise consult us before you issue any flight tickets, because we would need to bring them into Bangkok, Delhi, Calcutta, or Nepal, in one of those places, and then we would further route them from there. Just to give you an idea of Bhutan is a very simple country to market. I say that because there is literally one road in the country that goes from left to right, east to west, west to east. It depends on where you are, what you're seeing in the country. But Paro, Thimphu, Punakha, Trongsa, which is also the area of the Phobjikha Valley, and Bumtang. Really, this is where all the tourism, 99.9% of the tourism, is between these cities. And it's not because the other areas are so inaccessible. The road conditions are there. There just isn't any accommodation in many of those areas. And yes, the government restricts you to a certain extent from going to all over the country. They never went after the backpack tourism model, but always stuck to a little bit more exclusive tourism in the country. And that's why you pay about $100 a day in tax today to the government every day that you're there. So if you're there in the country for 10 days, $1,000 straight away are going to the government. And that is what they call the sustainable development fee. They do not want Bhutan to be a mass tourism destination. Hence, Bhutan is not a country where you're going to see tourists everywhere. It's still one of the last, as we call, Shangri-Las that's left out there, which is not plagued by mass tourism. And that's what the beauty of Bhutan is in itself. The Bhutan is not a very big, it's less than 1 million people that's out there. A lot of it is around the royal family of Bhutan, definitely like the monarchy in England, how they market it. Similarly, the royal family in Bhutan, but they take a lot more They've just moved from a monarchy to a democracy in the last 10 years or so. So the transition is still very much happening, but the king is very much still involved in the day-to-day lives of people. And you will see the king from time to time while you're on a tour somewhere, or the queen or her sisters, or somebody from the royal family, as they're all designated. They're all supposed to go throughout the country to check the well-being of their people, and they really do that. It's not like something that it's just written in the books, but they actually are really out there, connecting with people, connecting with what's the problems in the country, and then working through their system. Because they have just turned into a democracy, they're still a new democracy, and I would say they're one of the newest democracies out there today. Bhutan has all kinds of landscapes, from snow-covered mountains, evergreen forests, deep valleys. It really is a beautiful nation in the mountains. Monasteries which date back hundreds of years in some of the cases. Festivals which happen almost on a monthly basis. There's some exciting festival or the other. People ask me, Amit, do you recommend one festival over the other? Yes, sure, there are the more popular ones that happen, but even the smaller festivals are so intimate, and to a large extent, if it's not about the crowds, you cannot make out the difference of because all the mass dances happen at almost all the festivals that are there. Buddhism is definitely what people follow in the country. I will just go over some quick iconic monuments of Bhutan. Tiger's Nest, this is the image that you see everywhere. Whenever you Google Bhutan, this is the image that's going to point towards the picture of Bhutan. Tiger's Nest is the monastery where everybody, because it's nestled within this rock, you go to a T-point right opposite where this photograph is taken from. This is what people do in a city called Paro, which is where you land. Paro is the destination, is the main international airport of Bhutan while you're there. The Punakha Dzong is another one, which is nestled between two rivers. Again, a beautiful dzong where monks reside. And you will see, this is probably between here and Tiger's Nest is where you will see most of the tourists in the country when they come to visit. Majority of the other areas, people don't go far enough, I feel sometimes, where they can get into Gangte Valley and other areas where there's excellent hiking and walking, and you will hardly see many other people while you're there. This is Dochula Pass, which is right in the middle of the highway. So a lot of the iconic scenery in Bhutan, while you're driving on the highway within these mountains, if those clouds weren't there in the background, I would have gotten the mountain ranges as well while you're there. You're always going to be driving in a little bit mountainous region. So that's one thing to definitely look out for. If somebody really has windy road problems, then definitely Bhutan is something that you definitely want to mention to them, that they're going to be a lot of windy roads throughout the country when you're there. The Phobjikha Valley, as I mentioned, is as far as generally our travelers go. You can go further into a place called Pumtang, and we're going to discuss that in a second as well. But Phobjikha Valley is excellent for walks, hikes, but it's also at heaven to go see the black-necked cranes, which come here in very good numbers. So between the months of November to February, we can photograph the black-necked cranes within this valley. A lot of these homes in the valley in Phobjikha do not have electricity as well, just because they want to protect the cranes, and hence there is no wires that are actually going anywhere. So it's the philosophy how Bhutan works. It's all about sustainability, conservation. We talked about the cranes. We talked about the festival. This is the Black-necked Crane Festival that actually happens in the Gangte Valley. And other such festivals which are very colorful to photograph when you're there. Is there crowds? Sure. Depends if you go on. There'll always be crowds, but 80% of those people are going to be local people, and you're going to love interacting with them. You're going to love photographing while you're there, which is incredible. So that was one of the more popular festivals in Punakha. Photography-wise, Bhutan is amazing. We work with a lot of photographers. If you go during the festival time, you will anyways find them in the masks. So this is during one of the festivals. We did some mask dancers, photography, other special experiences. One of the things that we do is talking about what we're there for, the gross national happiness. This is what Bhutan is known for. And what is gross national happiness? It's all about sustainable socio-economic development. So promoting a well-balanced lifestyle lifestyle for everybody, that it's not mass market tourism. It's actually everything is sustainable. Environmental conservation, they are quite the pioneers in that everything, every resource that's used within the country, the structure, the buildings, everything is made in an environmental sustainable manner. The cultural preservation, everybody wears the national dress while they're there. Now, this could be a good thing or a bad thing. Maybe people are not given the choice. That's what sometimes people feel, but they can go to their homes and wear jeans or whatever. But majority of the time, you will find people, if they're out in a public space in or working, that you will always find them in a national dress. And good governance, the transparency in that country is incredible. Like I said, the royal family themselves walk down and go from village to village, finding out what the problems are in each areas of the country. Just going into monasteries like this and being able to just sit, and have no other tourists in an area. Where in the world can you still do that? So this is not like I'm going to one particular place. I'm going to many different monasteries where different prayers or teachings are happening at different times. We do something called the butter lamp ceremony, which is the picture. This is the picture from there, where we support a particular monastery which not has been neglected. That's not the right word, but there's almost sort of not much public infrastructure there. We get to this monastery by walking, taking our hike in the Gangte Valley, and we have in a way adopted. So all our clients actually we cost in a certain kind of donation into this monastery, and we do the 100 butter lamp ceremony. A great interaction with the monks while we are there happens as well. The Trans-Bhutan Trail, if people have heard that, if you Google the Trans-Bhutan Trail, it is almost a 400-kilometer trail of an ancient route that goes throughout Bhutan. And doesn't mean that when you're hiking you have to do the 400 kilometer. There's something similar in Sri Lanka that we do the Pico Trail. Similarly, there's the Trans-Bhutan Trail, and you can pick it up just for 2 hours or 6 hours or 8 hours or multiple days for 10 days or 1 day or 2 days. It's completely up to you. So this Trans-Bhutan Trail runs throughout Bhutan. And during your visit, we can actually do it for a few hours, like I mentioned, or do like an overnight camp. That's also quite possible. So these are what the camps look like when you're there. So it's quite comfortable, completely catered for while you're there. But the scenery, some of the monasteries that we get to, that's one of our guides. She's our trekking guide. She's fantastic. You sometimes arrive at this particular monastery, and the only way to get there is by hiking. So there are still monks and civilization living in these mountains, and it's incredible to still come by there and having nobody else around you is quite special. You can go high-end camping if you like. There's a new high-end operation that's out there as well. So depending on who your client is, what they do. Another experience is if you there is only 3 helicopters in the country. They are always restricted to first being used for any evacuation or any emergencies in a particular village. But other than that, they are let out for tourism as well. We do an experience going into the Twin Lakes, which is above Paro, or we can also use these helicopters for some of the transfers when we are there. The scenery from above is quite incredible when you're coming in. So this is us approaching into the Paro Valley. So whenever we do this helicopter experience, I encourage that we also include it like a transfer, because there are so many windy roads, as you can tell from the picture on the top right. The highways are actually excellent. There's no potholes. It's very smooth driving, just in mountainous condition. There is actually no stoplights in the country at all. The only police booth there is, you're looking at it. That is it in the town of Thimphu, and that's about it. The capital city has one police booth in the middle to monitor traffic, but everything else is there is no stoplights in the country completely. Where in the world can you still say that? So to just give you an idea again, look at this map. Paro is where you land. Paro is the destination for all the international flights, which is Druk Airways and Bhutan Airlines, to come in. Thimphu is the major city of Bhutan. I would spend 1 or 2 nights maximum there. Punakha is the other destination So there are five main destinations: Paro, Thimphu, Punakha, the Phobjika Valley, and Bumtang. This is the extent of travel of tourism generally in the country. Nobody really goes beyond it. Of course, there's specific interests in the country, like whether we are going birding in a completely different area, we can do that, and we can also set up camps around that. But a 8 to 10 day trip usually would end in Phobjika Valley. Even 12 days, I would extend those days, because once we get into Bumtang Valley, yes, you get remoter. Yes, there's almost hardly any tourism once you get into Bumtang Valley, and there is still really nice hotels there as well. But it's a lot more of the same. So I also don't want Bhutan to be mundane for you. Monastery after monastery gets tiring as well. It's the experiences that we want to focus on. We want to be able to do meditation, meet interesting people, eat interesting food while we are there. I think for hotels in Bhutan, there is all different categories of hotels which are there, and they are all good. They try their best for service. We can go to more simpler hotels like the Naxal Hotel here, which is in Paro and Thimphu, and they're all made in Bhutanese architecture. Dhensa Boutique Hotel. This is a great 4-star hotel, which is in the Punakha Valley. And then, of course, there are all the luxury hotels that start stepping in. Ziva Ling is a Bhutanese style 5-star postcard Diva, which is outside Thimphu, again made in the Bhutanese architecture, inside in the mountains, in the hills. So you're away from the city of Thimphu, which is about 35 minutes out, but you're not too far away either. One of my favorite places in the world is the Gangte Lodge. I think it's a beautiful, incredible 12-room property with views like this every day that you're looking at. So I'm saying that even if the budget is restricted and we're doing a 4-star hotel in throughout the itinerary, do this one, and and spend the extra money, because it's worth the customization they do with the food, just the views from your room, and just walking from here into the valley. From here, you'll be able to also do the meditation in the monastery that they support. This is the video we showed you earlier. This is right up, literally a 5-minute walk from them. So there is hardly any other tourists coming, and I was sitting by myself when I'm there. I've probably been there 5 times myself and stayed there. Uma is another chain, the Como Hotels. This was one of the first luxury hotels in the country before any of the Amans came in. Uma Paro was an incredible, beautiful. It still is in the city of Paro. They're going for a major refurbishment this year, and again, reasonable price. And these are all hotels I'm showing you, which are not the Aman and Six Senses, and I'll get to that in a second. But still, very good value for what you get while you're there. And Beyond just opened about 2-3 years ago. I've been there multiple times. Again, beautiful property. And Beyond Style, if you know it from Africa, to a large extent, it's been brought here as well. Again, a small property. It's not large. Again, made in Bhutanese architecture and style while you're there. These are their tented suites. They also have the 1-bedroom villas and the 2-bedroom villas, which are ideal for families. Omans, of course, came a long time ago, and they put Bhutan on the map. Long time, because their marketing was excellent. It's called Aman Kora, and it's not just one Aman. There is multiple Amans in the country, which is 5 Amans: Aman Kora and Paro, in Thimphu, in Punakha, in Gangte, and Bumtang. All the 5 destinations that we talked about. Exactly like this, the Six Senses came during COVID, and they also opened competing properties to them. Of course, they're beautiful. They are if Aman junkies, which are out there, would love to do the Amans, and Bhutan is definitely one that they go to. So they go from one property to the other and follow all the Aman hotels. And similarly, Six Senses has a similar program while you're there. My encouragement to you is that Bhutan is such a beautiful country, and there are so many very different types of hotels. I would always mix it up. I would always not try to be consistent in the same Six Senses only or Aman only type hotels, because all the rooms start to look the same. And then you start to lose the culture, because they all start to look like this at the end of the day. I think once we mix things like, and Beyond, or specifically Gangte Lodge, something like this, I think there is much more variety in the program, and definitely you're not competing with Aman directly or Six Senses directly when it's a complete Aman only program. So just think about that, be mindful of that mixing up with beautiful hotels in the country is still a luxury trip and still a very comfortable trip. Bhutan is not an expensive destination like Africa is. It's still very much affordable, and I'll come to that in 1 minute as well. But yes, these are the six senses and the amans which are out there. The guides in Bhutan are fantastic. They all speak excellent English. These are some of our most favored guides that work for us. They pretty much do all our business in the country. Excellent car conditions. The roads, like I told you, are excellent. This is something called the tank. Don't ask me why it's called that, but it's a Chinese make, and that's what they're supplying in Bhutan. But very comfortable vehicle for a couple while you're there. Where if you have a family, then the Toyota has high roof, excellent, very comfortable. All the high roofs have sort of lazy boy style sofas in them, so you're very comfortable while you're there. So the quality of deliverance in that country, whether it's accommodation, whether it's guiding, whether it's vehicles, is actually excellent while you're there. People ask me what are the peak seasons. End of February to May, September to November is what's written in the books. That's what the rates tell you. The rates are the most expensive around these times. But for me, even the mid-Jan to the end Feb is an excellent time. So is early December or late November when you're coming into the country. I consider Bhutan an year-round season. There is low season, absolutely. At one point in time, it used to be very cold in December and January, but sadly, because of global warming, I was there in last week of January, and I was wearing a t-shirt in the daytime and a light jacket at night. So the weather has changed a lot. So the rates are still stuck at what the time was, but even February is an excellent time to come, and you can enjoy the excellent off-season rates. Off-season rates are almost 20-30% cheaper. So I do recommend that traveling at that time is also a great idea. Of course, March, April, May are ideal conditions all the time. It's almost starting to get a little warm. Rains come in June, July, and August, but it's not all the time. So it's not like it's rainy season and it's all day raining. Yes, it rains in the morning, then it really clears up by the afternoon, and you have the evening as well. Also, realize that when it's off season or it's low season means a lot less tourists. Now, I'm being very relative here when I say that, because Bhutan tourism in itself is not so much anyways to start with, because it's restricted by those two planes that come in the country on a daily basis. There isn't much tourism coming into the country when you look at like Europe or another destination like that. But yes, it's always great to have a monastery by yourself, do a 100 butter lamp ceremony with nobody else around. Bhutan is building something called the Mindful City, which is coming. It's going to take probably 10-20 years to get there, but they've already started the airport, the developments in the area, and this is pretty much the world investing into a city which is going to be a sustainable city of the future of medical tourism, by naturopathy, by looking at the most advanced tech that's going to be out there. This is a very, very ambitious project, and the king is bringing investors from all around the world to come and look at this place and develop the Gelfu City. Gelfu City is what's the name? The flights are already flying there. There's not much to see for tourism just yet, but I think in the 10-20 years from now, there might be a different story when you're there. What I'm also going to quickly do is actually run you through a safari portal program. I know I have like 5 minutes left, so just to show you what the flow would look like, and also to let you know that we are happy to make these safari portal programs for you and white label them as well. It's very easy for you to do. This is something for a particular client we just did. Now, mind you, this particular program is on sort of more higher end, and I'll get to that in the end. We land in Paro Airport and head to Thimphu. The drive is only an hour and a half, because we stop on the way while we're going there. This client is checking into Six Senses Thimphu. Let me get to the main program. So you arrive, and as soon as you arrive, you're already seeing things on the way. The first drive is a good introduction into Bhutan while you're there. Six Senses, of course, are beautiful properties. So we have them there for a night. We do a gross national happiness sort of presentation talk. This is usually done with a scholar, somebody who's been a minister in the government, somebody who has been important, and they will talk about the government. And you can ask them all the questions that you want. This is a one-on-one thing that you would do over a drink or coffee for an hour, and you can ask all the questions that you want. We do a little bit of sightseeing while we are in Thimphu, the big city of Bhutan, and head into Punakha Valley. We cross that Dochula Pass that we talked about with the stupas in the middle. And if you wanted, you can start walking from here for 2-3 hours and actually do a nice hike into the next city. So rather than going on the windy roads, you can actually stretch your legs and cross some bridges while you're there. Your guide will go with you. Now, also to note, your guide is with you the entire time from the moment you land to the moment you depart, and this is by design. This is what the government wants, that you're always escorted at any given time. Whether it's one person or a group of 15 people, you will always be with a guide and a driver in the country. This is a requirement when you're in Bhutan. Uh, the Punakazong is incredible. This client is staying at and beyond. They're doing a nice hike in the morning to get to the monastery that I was showing you. Um, and we do the zong in the evening. We will visit a couple of monasteries while we're there. Of course, this can be cut down as much, and everything is flexible once you're there. Because your guide is with you every day, all the time, you can always say, "Listen, I'm tired. I want to do this tomorrow. I want to just relax tomorrow." It's very flexible, so there is nothing written in stone. From there, we get to the Gangte Valley. We're going for the cranes, and after the cranes, we will do some hikes. We actually are visiting a festival while we're there. We're doing something called sorry, let me get to this. We're doing something called the butter lamp ceremony that we talked about, the spiritual cleansing, which means this happens every morning. I don't want to call the word fumigation, but this is the blessing of the monks that happens in the morning, that you can be a part of. And for I believe about $250 per person, you can actually sponsor for two people. That's $500. You can sponsor breakfast for all the monks that morning. Which is like your offering, and you can actually have your own breakfast there as well as a setup if you like. So this is the meal offering to the monks. There are special dinner experiences one can do. There are quaint small villages that you can walk in while you're in Gangte. And from Gangte, they will take a helicopter to the Twin Lakes. So this also cuts down the 5-hour driving time that would have been there for them to get back to Paro. And they do the helicopter experience that we just talked about. They stay at the Aman. In the end, they climb Tiger's Nest. If you cannot climb it, there are horses there as well. If you can't, it's a little bit strenuous hike. I do it in about an hour. I would say 2 hours is a good rough estimate what it could take you to get to the T point where you can take this photograph. If you want to climb all the way to Tiger's Nest, that's also completely fine. It's a little bit more strenuous hike, and if you can't do that, there's always horses there that will take you there, and the market, and then they leave. This is basically their last night checking out. Now, this particular itinerary, just to give you an idea of cost, as you remember, $100 a day goes straight to the government. This is definitely on a much more higher end scale. This costs between $15,000 to $16,000 per person for these two people. Do it. The moment you've released the helicopter and you drive, it comes down to 11 or 12. You get rid of the Amans and the Six Senses and still put in nice hotels. But you keep like and beyond. You keep Uma Paro, or you keep Gangte Lodge. You're down to like $8,000-9,000 per person, and it starts to go down from there. So what I would not change is all the experiences, the monasteries, the monks, the experiences which are there. The hotels is what you have to play with, and that's exactly what's changing the itinerary. The cost of the itinerary as we go. All right, thank you. I think that was 10:30 on the dot.
It's, you may be the first person, Amit, that's been spot on 30 minutes for our Coffee with Kusini series. So you get a gold star. Congratulations. Thank you. I think we have at least one question. I'll throw it over to you, Vanessa.
Yes, it's Marjana, and she's asking, is there a season for the black-necked cranes?
Yes, absolutely. The backneck signs. The season is, I would say, the second week of November. So I would say 5th to 10th November, and the last time to go there is first week of March. They're gone by almost for end of first week of March. So February, January, November, December are good times for the blackneck cranes.
Amazing. What I learned a lot, Amit. I think we all did. This country that is kind of this mystical, magical country that we read about and hear about, those of us that haven't visited, this really kind of put it into real world context, that incredible combination between hiking, culture, food, as you mentioned, the natural beauty, and such a variety of stunning looking properties, both from more boutique mid-range up to, the Amans and the Six Senses. So, and then that Toyota Hiace looks like a private jet on wheels. So it'd be fun for a family to roll around in that. But also fair warning too, my daughter will not like the roads in Bhutan, so we may have to put that a heavy dose of Dramamine should we decide to head over there. So
Yeah, definitely.
um, thank you everyone for joining us. I don't think we have any other questions, do we, Vanessa?
Nope, that's it.
Amit, thanks so much. We will, like I said, post this on YouTube in the next couple of days. We hope you all enjoyed today's presentation, and we'll see you for our next Coffee with Kusini, which is in about a month. It's going to be Tyrone McKeith from Classic Zambia presenting on their new camp in Kafue, the exclusive use Lwenge River Camp. So if you haven't registered for that, look out for one of our emails to register for that one. And then coming in the fall, we're going to have Birgit from Ultimate Earth, as well as our friends over in Madagascar, Njaka and Haja, talking about Madagascar with assistant travel. So look out for those for our Coffee with Kusini series throughout the rest of the year. Have a great rest of the day, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Take care.